The first time I saw the property listing for Clearwater Lake, I knew it was exactly what I'd been searching for. 15 acres of pristine wilderness with a crystal clear lake right in the center. The asking price was steep, but after years of working brutal hours as a software consultant, I had the money saved. What I didn't have was patience for entitled neighbors, but I was about to get a masterclass in dealing with one. My name is Marcus Chun, and I've been living in my modest 3-bedroom house on Lakeside Drive for about 6 months when the lake property went up for sale. The previous owner, an elderly man named Mr. Patterson, had passed away, and his children wanted to liquidate the estate quickly. The lake sat directly behind my property and 3 others, including the sprawling mini-mansion belonging to Diane Fredrickson, though everyone in the neighborhood just called her that Karen. I'd had exactly 2 interactions with Diane before the lake purchase. The first was when I moved in, and she knocked on my door to inform me that my moving truck was an eyesore and needed to be gone by 5 p.m. The second was when she called the police because my dinner guests had parked on the street in front of her house. The street, the public street. So when I submitted my offer for the lake property, I'll admit there was a small, petty part of me that enjoyed knowing Diane would hate having me as her back boundary neighbor. The sale closed on a Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, Diane was on my doorstep. "We need to talk," she announced, not bothering with pleasantries like hello or good morning. She was dressed in tennis whites despite it being 9 a.m. on a weekday, her blonde hair pulled back, so tight it looked painful. "I just found out you purchased Mr. Patterson's land." "That's correct," I said, sipping my coffee and not inviting her in. "Well, I need to make something very clear to you right now." She crossed her arms, her diamond tennis bracelet catching the morning sun. "That lake has been part of MY viewshed for 12 years. My property value is tied to that water view. You cannot, and I mean cannot, do anything to obstruct my sight line." I blinked. "Your viewshed?" "Yes, it's a real legal term. Look it up." She sniffed. "I'm telling you this as a courtesy, but my lawyer has already been consulted. If you so much as plant a tree that blocks my view, I will sue you into oblivion." "Diane," I said slowly, "the lake is on my property now, not yours. I can do whatever I want with it." Her face flushed red. "We'll see about that. I know the mayor. I know the city council. I know everyone who matters in this town, and you're just some tech worker who moved here 5 minutes ago." She spun on her heel and marched back to her house, pulling out her phone before she'd even crossed her own lawn. That's when I knew this was going to get interesting. Over the next week, I received 3 certified letters. One from Diane's lawyer claiming that an implied easement gave her permanent lake access. One from the HOA, which Diane was president of naturally, claiming I needed architectural approval before making any changes to the lake property. And one from the city zoning office asking me to verify my property boundaries. I called my real estate attorney, Patricia, who had a good laugh at all 3 letters. "There's no implied easement," she said. "The Patterson estate owned the lake outright, and now you do. The HOA has no jurisdiction over non-residential land. And the zoning inquiry? That's just Diane trying to harass you through official channels. So I'm good. You're better than good. But Marcus, if you want to make this really interesting, I found something when I was reviewing your deed." "What's that?" "Pull up your survey map. Look at the rear boundary of Diane's property." I did, and that's when I saw it. The property line between my lake parcel and Diane's backyard didn't run straight along the edge like I'd assumed. Instead, it cut diagonally, way diagonally, through what was currently Diane's manicured lawn, her pool deck, and her elaborate outdoor kitchen. "Wait," I said slowly. "Is this saying that about 40 feet of her backyard is actually on my property?" "Not just 40 feet, Patricia said. "According to this survey in the county records, roughly a third of her current backyard has been encroaching on the lake property for at least 15 years. Mr. Patterson never enforced a boundary. He probably didn't even notice. But I could." "You absolutely could. That's legally your land, Marcus." I sat back in my chair, a plan forming in my mind. "Patricia, what would happen if I decided to put up a fence? Right along the actual property line?" There was a pause. Then she laughed. I would need to charge you extra, because I'd enjoy this case so much. Do it. But do it right. Get a licensed surveyor out there to mark the boundaries, pull permits, the whole 9 yards. Make it bulletproof. The survey team arrived the following Monday. Diane came running out of her house the moment she saw them setting up their equipment. What is this? What are you doing? She practically shrieked at the lead surveyor, a patient woman named Carol. We're conducting a boundary survey, ma'am. Carol said calmly. Are you the property owner here? Yes. This is MY property. You can't just... Ma'am, we're on the lake parcel property line. We have permission from the owner. Carol gestured to me, where I stood watching from my back deck. Diane's head whipped toward me. Marcus, what the hell are you doing? I walked down to the boundary area, hands in my pockets, just making sure I know exactly where my property ends, and yours begins, Diane. You know, for legal purposes. Legal purposes? Are you threatening me? Not at all. I'm just being a responsible landowner. The surveyor team worked for 2 days, placing bright orange stakes every 10 feet along the true boundary line. The line cut right through Diane's pool deck, bisected her outdoor kitchen, and claimed a good portion of what she'd been using as her lawn for over a decade. When Diane saw the final stake boundary, she completely lost it. This is impossible, she screamed, literally stomping her foot. This can't be right. That's my pool deck. My kitchen. I built those. On my land. I said simply. You absolute. She caught herself, breathing hard through her nose. I will fight this. I'll get an injunction. I'll sue you for everything you have. Go ahead, I said. But while you're doing that, I'm going to start building. Building what? A fence. 6 feet tall, solid privacy style. Right along the property line. Her face went from red to purple. You wouldn't dare. Watch me. The fence company started work that Friday. I'd pulled all the proper permits, had my surveyor's report filed with the county, and hired the best fence contractor in the area. They began at the road and worked their way back, installing pressure-treated posts and panels. Diane stood in her yard. Well, what remained of her yard, filming everything on her phone and yelling threats. This is harassment. This is retaliation. I'll have your contractor's license revoked. She directed this at the bemused fence crew. Ma'am, we're just installing a fence on the property owner's land, the foreman said. It's not his land. It's mine. I've been using it for 15 years. Actually, I said, stepping into view, that's called adverse possession. And in this state, you need 20 years of continuous, open use without the owner's permission. You're 5 years short. Also, Mr. Patterson's estate has records showing he gave you verbal permission to use the space, which means it was never adverse. So legally, you have no claim. I'd done my homework. Patricia had been very thorough. Diane's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Then she burst into tears, actual tears, and ran inside her house. The fence took 3 days to complete. When it was done, it was glorious. 6 feet of solid privacy fence, painted a nice neutral gray, running in a perfectly straight diagonal line through what used to be Diane's backyard. Her pool deck was now split in half. Her outdoor kitchen was on my side of the fence. Her meticulously maintained lawn was divided. She tried everything to stop it. She called the police, who verified my permits and left. She called the HOA, who confirmed they had no authority. She even tried to get an emergency injunction from a judge, who denied it after reviewing the survey. On the 4th day after the fence was completed, Diane appeared at my front door again. This time, she looked defeated. What do you want? She asked quietly. To humiliate me? To destroy my property value? I don't want anything, Diane. I said honestly, I just want to enjoy my property in peace. The same thing you wanted, ironically. So, what? You're just going to keep the fence? Keep my pool deck and kitchen? Well, they're on my land, but I'll make you a deal. I pulled out a document Patricia had prepared. I'll sell you the encroaching portion back. Fair market value, based on a neutral appraisal. You get your yard back, I get compensated for my land, and we both move on. She stared at the paper. And the fence comes down as soon as the sale closes. Diane was quiet for a long moment. Then quietly, "I'm sorry for how I acted, for the letters and the threats and everything." "Apology accepted," I said. "So do we have a deal?" She took the paper. "I'll have my lawyer review it." "But yes, deal." The encroachment sale closed 3 weeks later. Diane paid me $30,000 for the portion of my land she'd been using. I took down the fence. An uneasy peace settled over Lakeside Drive. I still own the lake, and I built a beautiful cabin retreat on it. Diane and I aren't friends, but we wave to each other now. She even brought me cookies after a particularly bad storm knocked down a tree. Sometimes people need to learn that the world doesn't revolve around them. And sometimes all it takes is a well-placed fence and a good lawyer to teach that lesson. My lake has never looked more beautiful.